Hey everyone, welcome back to another awesome video. Today we are taking bicycling to the next level with my new e-bike, the Swagtron EB7. This time on Make and Believe.
Hey, I'm super excited. My Swagtron e-bike has just arrived, but I'm going to be honest with you, the box that it came in has, how shall we say, seen better days. It's pretty wrecked, like, really badly wrecked. So I thought I'd take a quick video before I opened it up here, just in case the contents inside are not in optimal condition. That being said, I am very excited about this, and I hope very much that they are. This is a really cool bike, and I've been waiting for it for a long time. So here we go. Okay, there was no internal packaging, just some bubble wrap, but you know what, it's a pretty rugged bike from what I've heard, so I am hopeful. It appears to be the bike that I ordered. This is the EB7 Elite. It appears to have a seat, it appears to have a battery, it appears to have a disconnected reflector. So I'm not sure if that was supposed to be connected and got busted in transit or not. Either way, it's here. And then it's got a box, which I'm assuming will have the keys in it, and maybe an instruction manual. The box feels a little heavy. So yeah, I guess we'll unwrap the rest and put her together. Alright, that box actually contained the charging cable for the battery, which I'm going to go ahead and plug in next because I do not believe the battery comes fully charged. The key was zip-tied to the handlebars, so there is a key for the locking of the battery. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to put the bike together, put the battery inside, and charge it through the bike's charging port for the initial charge. Just that way everything is in one place. Also, it did not come with an instruction manual. It came with a downloadable instruction manual from the website, which is fine. I've actually seen a bunch of review videos where people put this thing together. I think I'm pretty confident I can do it without the manual, but then again, I always say that, so we shall see. Okay, well that's interesting. This key does not fully insert into the lock and does not turn the lock. And that is the same whether the battery is in or whether the battery is removed and I'm just trying to lock it and unlock it. I can see the locking mechanism. This key does not appear to be the right key for that bike. So not an amazing start, but that doesn't mean that the rest of it won't work great, and I am still cautiously optimistic. So, key aside, I'm just going to leave the battery in, not locked, and see if I can get everything put together and get this thing charged. Okay, that actually went together pretty easily, and the battery does feel pretty secure in there, so we shall see. I did figure out that the light reflector, as you can see, is broken on the back, and I found the place where this lines up. It was supposed to connect, it looks like, on the left front of the handlebar system, where a piece that seems to be broken in the opposite way of this. This piece of plastic was supposed to be fixed there. Not the end of the world. I can get this thing back on again. All in all, if this is the worst of the damage from that terrible, terrible box, then I'll take it. Let's get this thing charging and see how it goes. Alright, I just held down the power button for a couple of seconds and it kicked on. When it kicked on, it actually was already in mode 1 for some reason, and the accelerator right here was a little bit tweaked, so it started to want to go on its own. That's all right. Quickly averted by knocking that back into position over there. That's the accelerator. And looking at the battery, it does look like it's got 4 bars. I think there are 5 bars total if this gauge is accurate. So I'm going to keep it in mode 0 and actually give it a little bit of a test ride to see how it feels before I start charging it. And we'll go from there. Let's test the horn. Oh yeah, that's a really annoying noise, but it is a horn, so that part works. Yeah, and actually let's test the headlight too before we take it anywhere, because it's going to be dark soon. I believe you just hold down the power. Nope, that turned it off. Well, I'll figure that out with the manual, and we'll come back to it in a little bit. Yeah, mode 1. It kicks on to mode 1. We'll start in mode 0. Okay, we got it plugged in. It does not have a visual LED indicator on the bike that it is charging, or does it display it on the control strip, but it does give you an LED on the power supply. That started out green, and when I plugged it in, it went to red, so I'm assuming it will get back to green when the bike is fully charged. So we'll let this go for a little while. We're already at 4 bars. Not much farther to go to 5. I am going to check the tire pressure while I'm waiting, and we shall see. Yeah, aside from the broken reflector, it also came with this, and I'm not entirely sure what this is supposed to be. It exists, though, and it came in my box, so I'm going to check that out on the website and see if I can figure out what this might be. Also of note, there are some dings. Now, this might have happened, actually, while it was being shipped to me, because, like I said, that box was... that was a piece of work right there. But it also might have been in place beforehand. I did buy this bike recertified, so it's like new. It's not new. It was less expensive, and I am willing to take that sacrifice for a little bit of cost savings, especially on kind of a trial run bike like this. I've never had an e-bike before, so I'm just kind of wading in ankle deep here to see what this experience is like. But yeah, I'm not overly concerned with the dings here and there. It's not really that bad other than this one. And I'm planning on customizing this bike anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and paint it once I'm happy with it, and kind of give it my own custom look. Right, I've got my back tire up to about 45 PSI. It does say to inflate them to between 40 and 60 here on the wheel. And it came in at about 20. So, not terrible. I mean, it did have some air in the tires, but it really wasn't solidly inflated. One note I will say is that my particular bike pump has this latch that locks on. This is a Schrader valve. It's not a Presta, which is fine. Who cares? But it kind of bends the tube a little bit because of the spoke. There's not a lot of room to get in there. And when I click it back down to get it off, yeah, there's just a little bit of air release escape time before I'm able to really make that work properly, since the hub motor is so close. But all in all, worked out, and I shouldn't have that problem on the front end where there's a lot more space. So we get this guy inflated and hopefully charged soon so we can take her for a test drive. Oh man, pardon my helmet head here. I definitely am glad I put the helmet on for that ride. I pushed the bike to its absolute limit. I wanted to make sure I could ride it for as long as possible and see what that maximum range is. I have read a million online reviews and watched a lot of YouTube videos. Most of them are super positive, but the one review on YouTube that I saw for a recertified bike like mine is actually said that he only got 5 miles of range, and that had me concerned. So I wanted to push it. Yesterday I did notice on my initial test ride that there were, I would say, some red flags with the battery. The battery doesn't seem to know what level it's at. It starts at 5 solid, and then after you're riding, especially in mode 3, if you even get the cruise control set for a hot second, it kind of fluctuates. It suddenly thinks it's at 3 bars instead of 5, then it goes back to 4, sometimes it comes back up to 5 again. If you let off of the cruise control and just do the pedal assist, even on mode 3, it seems to be fine. It stays at 5 bars and it gradually works its way down. But I noticed, as soon as you engage that cruise control, the battery doesn't seem to know what charge it's at. I don't know what's up with that issue. So I wanted to push it today, and I took it on a long ride. I went
probably 4 miles in a direction that I know is 4 miles because I've ridden it a million times, which would make it an 8-mile round trip. And then on my way back, I actually took a route that took me up a super majorly steep hill that I've actually always been afraid to tackle on my normal pedal bike, even on its lowest gear. Something I've been training for. So I've been a little nervous about it. And I took the e-bike, the Swagtron, up this hill, and it made it. On mode 3, with me pedaling, we got up, and with pedal assist, it actually did quite admirably. But on the way up the hill, it thought we were down to 1 bar. We were not. When I got to the top, when I disengaged my pedal assist mode 3 cruise control mode, suddenly we were back at 3 bars, and that 3 bars remained and slowly wound down. So I'm not really sure what the issue is. I don't think it's necessarily a battery issue. I think it might be a charge issue with the amp hours or with the control board reading the battery. I also will note that I did not ever get the key to engage to lock the locking mechanism that holds the battery in place. So there may be an issue with the battery, like not fully being compressed against the terminals inside the bike, but I don't really think it's that's it either. I think this battery needs to be deep cycled, and I think there might be a communications issue with what it's estimating mileage to be. That review I mentioned earlier on YouTube, where they only got 5 miles for the recertified bike, I think they might have had the same issue, but they didn't push it long enough to really figure out what was happening. It got down to 1 bar, and I was like, wow, I've really only been going for about 7 miles. We shouldn't be at 1 bar. It's going to die soon. But it didn't. I pushed it and pushed it and pushed it, and I kept riding around my neighborhood. Man, I gotta say, I probably went another 4 miles just circling the loop that is my internal subdivision. It's not a subdivision, it's a neighborhood, though. It's without getting on a major road, I can do a loop in my little area. And so I did that loop over and over and over again, and I did it until the bike completely died. And I put the headlight on, too, just to run it down, and I kept it in mode 3, and I pushed it as hard as I can, and like I'm saying, I probably got another 4 miles out of that. Now, when I started my ride today, the odometer on the bike said 20 miles. When I stopped my ride at the end, or when the gauge went dead, I was at 31 miles. So that's 11 miles overall on this ride. The bike says it's only supposed to get 15. This is the EB7 Elite. It's not the Elite Plus that gets 18 miles. It's the Elite, and it's supposed to get 15 miles, and it's only supposed to get a top speed of 15 miles per hour. This thing definitely gets a top speed of around 17.5 to 18.5 miles per hour, just depending on the flatness of the terrain, which is pretty amazing, I have to say. So overall, I'm stoked. What I'm going to do now is I've drained the battery all the way. I'm going to deep cycle it a couple of times. I'm going to charge it all the way up tonight till it's up at peak. Then tomorrow, I'm going to run it all the way down again. I'm going to continue this process for a few days and deep cycle this battery and see if I can't extend that mileage back up to the 15 miles that was originally promised. I think I can get there. I don't think we're stuck like this other reviewer says at like a 5-mile capacity. He ended up having to he said he bought another battery and he was still at 5 miles. And so definitely wasn't a battery issue for him. I don't know, the recertification process is tricky. There were definitely some things about this bike that were a surprise to me when they said like new condition. I thought they would have restored it a little better than it was, but I'm not really complaining. This is what I paid for it, and I'm pretty happy with what I got at the price point that I paid. So yeah, I'm going to deep cycle this battery. On a point of comparison here, we've also owned 2 Toyota Priuses. I know it's a bit of a difference between a car and a bike, but our second one, the one that we own now, is a plug-in hybrid electric. It's a 2015 Toyota Prius, and we started only being able to plug in and charge that thing up to about 9 miles capacity, and I actually thought it had only a 10-mile capacity, period, and that we were doing pretty well. But since then, as we have regularly charged that battery in cyclical fashion, we've gotten way higher than 10. I've gotten up to like 14.5 miles of charge. I don't actually even know what the capacity is. I'm assuming it's 15, but it's possible that as we treat this battery properly, we may even exceed 15. I haven't looked up the total capacity online. Maybe I should do that. But at any rate, we're happy with that. That was a secondhand product. We bought this car used, and I only ever expected about 10 miles of range out of it in pure electric mode. So, look, I'm pretty happy with what I've got here with this Swagtron so far. I'm going to recharge it again tonight. I'm going to push it again, deep cycle it a few times, and I will keep you up to date on where I'm at and what I'm able to do out of this original recertified battery before we go for a secondary battery, which is something I plan to do anyway, and before we try to do any custom electrical modifications. I think we can get there. Confident. Stoked. Here we go. Oh, I almost forgot to mention when I was going downhill on the huge hill that I pushed the bike up today. No pedaling, just mode 3. I did have the cruise control mode 3 engaged. Downhill, 26 miles an hour. And I had the brakes and both brakes mildly engaged to limit it to that speed. Had I not, had I been more confident with riding the Swagtron, I'm sure I could have gone faster, but 26 miles an hour. Wow, that was really, really fun. I'm glad I had my motorcycle helmet on because apparently going downhill, the Swagtron EB7 is an electric motorcycle. Fun times.
So I'm about 3 miles into my ride on day 2, and I have come across an E30 error code. I'm not really sure what that means because I haven't looked it up. You can see my battery again, just popped up from 3 bars to 4 bars there. I have a lot of battery fluctuation issues. I'm not sure if it's in the controller here or if it's in the battery itself, but something seems to be amiss, which is unfortunate because I really like this bike and I really want it to work, so I'm still going to give it every benefit of the doubt here. I'm not sure what this E30 code means. I'm going to look it up when I get back from my ride on the interwebs. For now, I'm going to give it a soft reboot here, or a hard reboot, I suppose. Turn it off. We'll turn it back on again and see if that error code is still here. Hopefully not. Yeah, 34 miles. I started on mile 31 today. Oh, there it is, E30. I wonder what that means. Let me switch out of everything here. I don't know, man. I really don't know what to say about this. Let me give it another hard reboot. There it is again. Oh, nope, now we're back to mileage. Okay. Oh, no, it's back again. All right, nope, and back to mileage. I really don't know what's going on here. I'm gonna have to do some investigating. I did reach out to Swagtron today directly. I bought this third party from a place called Electric Boarding Company, and they seem really good. There it is, back again. Anyway, they seem really cool. And I asked them about the key issue because my key doesn't fit my battery, and they told me to reach out to Swagtron. I did submit to Swagtron, and I got a response, which I haven't checked yet because I'm on a ride. But gonna follow up on the key, gonna follow up on this E30 code, which seems to be fluctuating back and forth in and out of existence. Very strange. I'm not pushing anything, it's just doing that on its own. So yeah, I still have hope, I still have love. I want this bike to succeed because it's awesome. But yeah, things like this, kind of worrisome. So more to be continued.
All right, rolling up home on day 2. Into the garage. I did have that E30 code that I showed you for a little while, and then it went away, and it seemed to stabilize for a bit. Then I had it again for a little while, and then it went away again. I mean, without any reboots, just me riding the bike, because everything seemed to be functioning normally, other than I had that E30 code, where normally I would have my odometer reading strip at the bottom. Also, when it went into that E30 code, I did lose active miles per hour tracking, so that's not amazing. I like to know how fast I'm going, and during the code times, I wasn't able to read that. It would just pause at whatever the last read was before it hit that code. And I'm not sure if that's the same for the battery function or not. However, it was responsive. When I would go into cruise control mode, in the E30 code, it would go in, and then when I'd hit the brakes, it would come out. So things still seem to be functioning on a nominal level. At any rate, I got 9 miles today, whereas I got 11 miles yesterday before the thing totally crashed. However, today, I not only took it up the big hill, which I did do again, but in addition to that, I took it up another big hill and another street that was pretty much equal in size. So 9 miles versus 11 miles with 2 huge uphill pushes, and we're talking probably about
3/4 to a full mile of uphill at about 40-degree angle, 40-degree angle. It was a serious hill on both attempts. So yeah, I think that's about right. I'm going to keep deep cycling it. I did the second hill push today in order to actually drain the battery more quickly because I didn't have as much time to be out riding as I did yesterday. So I'm going to keep doing the deep cycling, see how this works out. I'm going to contact Swagtron about that E30 code. I'm going to do some Googling and figure out what that means, and more as I know it.
All right, we're on to day 3 with the Swagtron EB7 Elite. It was a rainy day. You probably can't really see out there, but the road is wet, and it has been raining off and on all morning, so I have not had a chance to take the bike out. And I probably won't. To be honest, my time today is just running short. But instead, I decided to do a little bit of customization, starting with the paint job. You may have noticed that there was a red stripe running along the bottom before. I have now upgraded that to silver, as well as the red accent work on both of the hub covers. I've made those silver as well. I'm not really a red type of guy. I'm a little bit more low-key than that, so silver is where I'm going with this. There's a bit of red still to touch up here on the other side, so you can see what that looked like before. A little bit of battle damage as well, because again, this is a recertified unit, but I like the silver, and the silver is coming along nicely, so that's where we are going with that particular upgrade. Another little touch I've added is a compass here on the top, the clamp that holds the handlebars in place, and when the bike is up and level, that compass gives me true north, which is very nice to know where I'm going, and to have it be kind of an analog sort of gauge. In addition to that, I've also rigged up a phone holder here with a little clamp on it. I will drop a link in the description to this video if you want to print one of these or have a makerspace in your area print one for you. They're universal and they work really well, and this particular one is the perfect width to fit in between the clamp mount here and the actual handle itself on the right hand side. I've got the display that came with the bike on the left, so it's nice to have those two gauges kind of balance each other out. Another upgrade I've done here is on the headlight. This was also a red accent detail, and instead of using my standard silver paint here, I actually used the Mirroriest Mirror Paint in the world, Stuart Semple's mirror paint. I will also drop a link in the description to that. I wanted to use that. It's a tiny 15 milliliter bottle, and I've just got a little bit. I actually bought it for an Iron Man helmet faceplate, but I had some left over, and I wanted to use this instead of the standard silver because it is way more reflective. And so, in addition to an accent detail, it also gives me a bit of reflectivity on the headlight assembly, so that's nice. Speaking of headlights, when the battery on this bike dies, the headlight obviously doesn't have anything to power it. It's running off of the same battery that powers the wheel hub motor. And so I wanted a supplemental headlight for instances where I'm out, it's after dark, I'm on my way home, and my headlight goes out. And so what I did was hit up the 99-cent store and grab myself a solar disc light. So this actually has a solar panel in the middle, battery on the inside, and then 8 LEDs around on a wheel here. Let me pop it on if I can find the switch. See what that looks like here. There it goes. It's got a photovoltaic sensor in there, so when the sun happens, it turns itself off. I'm going to keep it off for now, just so I'm not wasting any battery unnecessarily, but I thought that was a nice touch to have for when the other headlight goes out and I'm out after dark, something to light up the road and to let people know where I'm at on the road. And I've attached it thus that it actually turns with the handlebars, whereas this guy down here doesn't. It's attached to the main frame, so it's shining directly forward no matter which way I turn. So nice to have lighting options in both directions. Another great thing about this headlight assembly, the secondary headlight I've put on, is that it folds down nicely with the bike and doesn't conflict or like bump into anything, which is a major consideration. Same thing with the phone, same thing with anything I'm going to put on here. This is a foldable bike, first and foremost, so I want it to be able to fold properly. Speaking of folding, you'll notice here, I've got this latch open. There is a pad that came on the bike already that allows this clamp to not get damaged or damage the frame, and that's awesome. There's another one up here. Let's see, where is it? Oh, here it is. On this clamp, where this opens up to keep it from being damaged or damaging the frame. However, I noticed when I got the bike, obviously it was slightly used, there was a bit of an indentation. I don't know that the camera's going to pick it up, but it's right about here. And this is where the bike hits the frame when the handlebar folds down, and there was a bit of some battle damage here. So what I did was take the soft side of a strip of Velcro, and I've added my own pad here so that that won't actually be a problem in the future. Little upgrade, but an important one. All right, so since I'm not going to get out on the road too much today, I did take a brief little ride. I am running my motor down. I've suspended it from one of my bike racks by the front tire, so it's hanging out. And as you can see, the rear wheel and hub motor are cranking away here. So I am assuming this is going to put miles on the speedometer too. So I'll be able to count how many miles it thinks it has. I am in cruise control, so it's just running on its own. Let's see if I can zoom in here. In mode 3, and looks like I got 42 miles on the speedometer, or on the odometer here when I started. I put 2 miles on it just now, so it was a really short ride for me today. It thinks it's going 19.5 miles per hour. So with no weight on it and with no road friction, this thing can crank. And I don't really weigh that much. I mean, not comparatively speaking to some of the people I've seen riding this particular model bike online. So I'm going to let this go. We'll see how many miles it thinks it gets. I'm going to run it dead so that I can continue my deep cycle charging practice. Yeah, here we go. Alright, so with no load on the motor, we are still going strong. Just a little check-in here. The bike thinks it's gone, wow, it thinks it's gone 21 miles since I hung it up and suspended it and ran it with no load on the hub wheel. And I rode 2 miles before that, and it's still giving me 3 bars. That speedometer reading fluctuation thing that happens every once in a while, that's not absolutely crazy. That happens on my actual pedal bike too with that speedometer. It's just a matter of the computer doing calculations, so I'm not overly concerned about that. At any rate, I've got the headlight on and I've been running it hard, and it still thinks it has 3 bars, so I'm really not worried about the battery. And I haven't seen the E30 code either during this whole process. It's been running for a while now, so I'm going to take it off the rack. I think I can probably ride it a little bit, at least until the battery is done for the day, and then charge it up again. But I think the battery's coming along just fine. Actually, I'm pretty pleased with what I'm seeing here. Okay, I gave it another probably 2 miles, but I'm back up on the rack because it's freezing cold outside. It was rainy today. Let's get a good view. There we go. Okay, it thinks it's at 67 miles. When I was on the bike, it was down to 1 bar, so I'm going to run it out. It thinks it's gone a total of 27 miles today because I started at 40. I put it on the rack at 42. Yeah, it's just insane. I'm really pleased with the deep cycle progress of the battery. And tomorrow I'm going to give it a flat, no big hill ride to see how far it can go there and back again, like a holiday.
All right, we're here at the end of day 3. Crazy helmet hair head in full effect. I did a nice ride. It was about 8 miles. Smooth sailing both ways. The only thing I noticed that was still kind of weird is that it doesn't seem to actually read the real potential of the battery's charge. It seems to think that it's at like 3 bars, whether it's at 5 or whether it's at 1. Yeah, at any rate, we're still rolling strong. Let me flip the camera up here and give you a look at the screen. So it thinks it's going about 17 miles an hour here, and with 2 bars left. I was down to 1 bar when I was riding it. That obviously that added some weight and some drag to the wheel hub. But I've got it spinning here, hanging up like I did yesterday to drain the rest of the battery out, and I'm going to deep cycle it again. I got no E30 code again, 2nd day in a row, no E30 code. So, yay, good stuff, good times. Doing okay. Gonna keep rolling. We'll see where this goes. Well, this sucks. End of day 5. I was wrong, by the way, yesterday. It wasn't day 3, it was day 4. There was a rainy day, threw off my whole count. At any rate, as you can see, I've got some helmet head because I just took the e-bike out for a ride, even though I probably should have known better because it was pretty much dark when I left the house. Been working on the furnace all day. Had no time to ride, and I really, really wanted to ride. And I ate it. I didn't see a bump on the curb. I was riding on the sidewalk like a dumbass because I needed to get across a busy street, and I ate it. And I just really fucked my bike up, which sucks. Had this thing less than a week, and I just basically busted it. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna recover. I'm gonna fix it, but I'm a little pissed, and here's what I did to close out this first Swagtron EB7 video for you in proper fashion.
All right, first the good news. Most things seem intact. Wheels are fine, didn't mess up like the steering column or anything like that. Even my secondary headlight survived pretty much just fine. I do have a really big like damage mark here from eating that sidewalk. I flipped forward and the thing flipped in. Thank goodness I was wearing my helmet because yeah, I probably would have broke my jaw. I'll be real. That was a serious tumble right there. I also have some damage here on the handlebars on both sides, right here on the brake assembly. And then worst of all, oh, my screen is so broken. It's so broken. That being said, things seem to still work. I got home by engaging electric drive and riding nice and slow in the middle of a smooth street that I am very familiar with. But this screen is going to probably need replacing. There's no fixing that. It's super broken. In addition, my seat has popped off. I think this is easily fixable. I don't know about easily, but I think this is fixable. I can get up in there tomorrow and make things right with the seat. The screen is going to need replacing, though, so I'm going to have to reach out to Swagtron and see what I can do about getting a replacement part sent to me. I'm definitely not shipping this thing to Indiana from California in order to be serviced. So I'm going to have to have the parts sent to me, and I'm going to figure out what to do with them. Hopefully it's just a matter of being plug and play, but yeah, I messed this thing up pretty bad. So anyway, this is the end of my first review of the Swagtron EB7. I probably can't do much more on this until I get her up and running again. Overall, though, I'll be honest, even though I just ate it, I'm super thrilled with this thing, and I'm really glad I bought it, and I'm planning to continue to enjoy it and continuing to customize it in the days, months, and years to come.